guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Joni Young. If you're new here, thanks for joining. And today I'm going to be showing you guys another step-by-step on a small canvas. So I've got these little 5x7s that I'm going to be working on, and if you want to do this on a larger canvas, you absolutely can. So don't let this hold you back or stop you from learning how to do this tutorial, okay? You can paint this on any size canvas. I have injured my arm. I shouldn't be using it, but I'm just going to try and do smaller canvases for now that use a lot less physical work for my arm, and I can't stay out of my studio. You guys know how much I love to paint and share it all with you. I hope you guys enjoy this video, and I want to thank you so much for all your well wishes and your support. I think it's just from overuse because I'm a left-handed painter and I do a lot with my left hand. I can paint with my right hand when I need to, but I just prefer to paint with my left hand, and it's a lot more natural. But maybe if it gets bad enough, then I may have to resort to using my right hand. But anyways, I just want to thank you guys so much for all of your support and well wishes, and I appreciate it. It means a lot to me. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started, guys. Okay guys, so here are the colors that we're going to be using today. I've got, this is Luminous Yellow by Holbein. This is the Luminous Opera or Neon Pink. Of course, we've got Titanium White. I've got Phthalo Blue by Color by Felix. Right here's a Phthalo. And Cobalt Blue, Color by Felix as well. Right here. We've got a 5x7 acrylic primed canvas, and I just applied it with one coat of acrylic gesso actually, and then I dried it off, and I've got two brushes here that I'm going to try to complete this painting with. The filbert brush here, this is a number 4, I can barely see it on there. It's a number 4 filbert. This will be great for doing the sky, the clouds, and even the sun if we have a little sun in here. I just usually twist it around because it's got that nice little round end to it that's really effective. And of course the trees. So the liner brush will be for little branches, tree trunks, and the Eiffel Tower. If it's a bit too wobbly and it makes my Eiffel Tower kind of lopsided, then I might switch over to a small stiffer flat brush here. This is a number 2. This liner brush is a number 1. Just pick any brush according to the size of canvas that you're working on. So you can do this, like I said at the beginning of the video, on a larger canvas. In fact, a larger canvas is much easier than trying to squeeze all the fine details into a smaller one. If you're just tuning in now and you missed the intro, my arm has been extremely sore lately and I shouldn't be using it, but I can't stay away from my gallery. It's my daily therapy. So I am trying to just do smaller canvases because it's a lot, I can rest my arm here too, and it's a lot easier than pulling and pushing on large canvases, right? Because I'm using my arm a lot more for that. So that's the only reason why I'm doing these little canvases lately. I actually prefer a larger canvas, but like I said before, don't let this small canvas throw you off and intimidate you and make you think that you can't do it, because you definitely can. And I'm going to break this down into step by step for you guys. Work at your own pace and your own ability. Don't judge yours or compare it to mine. Every artist is different and we all have our own expression and way of interpreting something. So just have fun, enjoy yourselves, and we're going to begin with the sky now. So I'm going to use this little filbert brush. I'm going to get it a little bit wet. I'll dry it off on my towel. And I'm just going to pick up some of my pink first and a little bit of white. I'm just going to start to get a feel for puffy clouds. I'm going to leave a few spaces blank on purpose so I can come in with a little bit of tinted white. And I'm going to tint my white with a little bit of the phthalo blue, and then I'll add a little bit of layering over the clouds with the cobalt blue. Now if you don't have these colors, don't worry, you can use any other variations. So the next brightest pink that you have, or bright yellow, orange. Now I've painted another Eiffel Tower on a larger canvas. There's a lady with a dress sitting on a wall looking at the view, and I'll leave a link if you guys are really into painting larger and a different style. It's Paris in the spring, this is Paris in the winter. And I'll leave a link below for that one. It's a really fun one, and there's lots of cherry blossoms. So now I'm going to take a little bit of white again, and I'm going to take this luminous yellow. Now it's called luminous yellow, but I don't know if the camera's picking it up or not, but it is actually a really light orange, and it's a really gorgeous, gorgeous color that I like to use for warm sunsets and warmth, like little windows and lights in houses. I think it's just that perfect tone for creating light. And it looks good with a lot of other colors. So I can see my paint is drying a little bit quicker today than usual. The temperature has cooled off here. Of course, we're in the fall season now, depending on when you're watching this. So I've had to turn my heater on in my studio so it's drying my paint out quicker. And I've got my parchment paper palette today. This is to help prevent it from drying out, because parchment paper is not porous, but it still is drying a little bit. So I'm gonna have to try to paint a little bit quicker. And I'm just adding a little layer. See how pretty this is? And I'm skipping some spaces. So again, just taking a little bit of that luminous yellow with the white. And look, if I just kind of graze over these pink clouds, I get a whole other color. So we're kind of getting this gradation, right? And then up here I'm going to add a little bit more blue over the pink, and it's going to go kind of like a bluey purple to pink to coral, peach, and then very, very light here. So this will be the area. I'm just going to do a little area here where this is going to be our sun. Let's just take a little dab of that titanium white, just so I remember to leave that there. Okay, I'm going to wash my brush off now. Dry it off. I don't want any drips on my canvas. And just kind of get that shape back there. All right, so I'm going to take a little bit of white. Ooh, too much blue. I just want to tint the white. Very, very, very subtle. Very light, delicate blue here. So I'm going to come in between. And it's okay if the paint is still wet. It's not a bad thing if you get another color in there. You'll get more of like a muddy tone, but in a good way, because in sunsets there's always a little bit of a smoky brown, those little mid-tones and earth tones in there that I think are important to not leave out. It has a way of making your other pretty colors stand out even more. So see how I'm just kind of tapping in and around there? And I'm going to take just a little bit of white here and lightly go over this. So we know that with acrylic it's going to dry just a little bit darker, won't it? Just going to wash my brush out because I've picked up a little bit of orange and peach here, or pink and peach. I'm going to go over this blue again. Pick up just a little bit more. Actually add a little bit more white to that, it's a bit too dark. Okay, and I'm just going to start coming in on the top. So I have that dark to light. So that looks quite nice and balanced. Okay, so now I'm going to come in with a foreground and back to my little filbert brush. Very handy little filbert brush. I'm just going to take some more of this blue, a little bit of white, And I'll take a little bit of filbert, or phthalo blue. Filbert blue. I think the blues combined are really pretty too. I kind of like to blend the two, and that's the color you get. It's really pretty. Alright, so we're going to work on the foreground here. I'm going to do a little line like this. A few little lines. We'll just come in with like blocking shadows. Very simple. Just long lines, some a little bit thicker, some a little thinner. Kind of off on a slant if you want a little bit. That's a bit more character, an interesting perspective. Okay, then I'm going to take a little bit of my pink and my white. I'll come in here. Okay, that will be fine for now, and I'll start working on the Eiffel Tower. We're not out for a photograph. Don't intimidate yourselves. Don't worry too much about it, guys. It's just, art is about a feeling and getting that basic idea across on the canvas. Before I do that, and I don't want to forget about this, and I probably will if I don't get to it now, I'm seeing too much of this side of the canvas. It's kind of bugging me, so I just want to get these little areas in here just really quickly, see? Kind of just matching this up. I actually really like to paint the sides of my canvas. I'll just finish this up with a little bit of this light bubblegum pink. Down here as well. Just a little bit of that blue. There, good enough. Okay, so for the color of the Eiffel Tower, what I could do is just take some, I'll take my lighter color first, take a little bit of the phthalo blue, a little bit more of that luminous, a little bit of pink, and now we have a nice dark color. Let me get a bit of water on my brush, loosen that up. Now this is just the brush that I'm using. You can use anything that you feel the most comfortable using. It's different for everybody. And I'm going to bring it up to about here, so I'm just going to try to do a very skinny line here. Just do some little blobs, little dots, dabs, lines, blobs, whatever you want to call them. And then we're going to come right down to about here. Now I like to steady my finger, my pinky. That really helps me gain better control of the paintbrush in my hand. And then we'll just do a little bit of dabs in there. This is going to come out a little bit further, right? Comes out slightly into a triangle. And then we'll do a line across like that. And I'm going to get a little bit more water in my brush. Thin this out a little bit. And do another little rectangle in there. Now the sides kind of go up a little bit on an angle like that. See that? And we're going to leave a little space. Come down, come down. Okay, so it looks like an upside down V. Go across, do an arch for the bottom of the Eiffel Tower. So get the basic shape that you want, and then if you feel like you need to adjust anything, you can easily do that. We're going to put our little trees in front of this. And what I want to do is go to my little firm, stiff, flat brush. I'm going to get it a little bit wet. And I'm going to manipulate the paint around a little bit. Just kind of wipe the excess off here. Just want to make this a little bit skinnier inside. So I'm just really taking off some paint and then adding, pushing some around, just so I get a bit of a better shape, something that I'm a little bit happier with. So I'm going to try using this brush to do the center. Might be easier than the liner brush. I'll let you guys know. Just give you options. And then another little line right here. One here. Go over these ones again. I'm going to wash my brush off, and I'm going to come back in here and push off some of this paint. I'm sure you guys won't need to do this because you're going to get the right shape on your first go, because you're watching me make little mistakes and having to correct them. So just by watching me make these little mistakes, you're learning a lot. I don't like to edit out all my fiddling around and going back and taking paint off. I think that's kind of cheating you guys out of learning. I think that you need to see that. And that we don't, as artists, even if we've been painting for many years, we don't get it perfect all the time. Now this wasn't planned, but I'm just thinking this 6mm Zen Wisp filbert brush, you guys can see that. It's got little spaces cut out of it. I bought it like this. They're very cute little brushes, and I got it wet so you can see it a little bit better. So to make, you know how the Eiffel Tower has all those, the little lines, and it is far away, so we're not going to see all of that, but I want to have a little bit, and I think I'm going to try this. Let's see how this works. So if I just go across, and then maybe, you know, that kind of works. Just some little crisscrosses, or the idea that they're there. See, you guys, you really don't need to do a lot. And if you want to use a liner brush for that, you can too. I'm going to just take a little bit of white now. Maybe pull in a little something in here. Now the top here, make yours a little bit skinnier if you want. See, I'm just manipulating that off a little bit with a damp brush, and I'm able to make it a little bit longer and skinnier. Okay, now we're going to start coming in with our foreground. So I'm going to go back to my little filbert brush here, and I'm going to take some phthalo blue with a little bit of white, and we'll just start pulling, flicking, and tapping, turning my brush both ways. See that? Pulling and flicking, full width of my brush, and then I'm going to leave an area here where that sun is. I'm going to come right below it. We're going to go in front, right down here in front of the base of that Eiffel Tower. Now what this is going to do is set that back there further. So let's take a little bit more. And we'll pull and tap. Take some white now, and I'm going to push it on the tip of my brush and start coming in. Look at that, just instant little snow-covered trees. See there, it's not just pure white, it's mixing in a little bit with blue. You want it to do that. We just are out for a softer tone, we're not out for bright white. And this is going to dry a little bit darker. We just want a few different tones of blue. Okay, so now I'm ready to come in with our larger trees. First, I'm going to take my little liner brush. I'm going to take my luminous yellow or orange here, some of the neon pink. So see how it's kind of looking, when I add that luminous yellow in there, it turns like a rusty, kind of burnt sienna color. So we're going to use this to do some of our branches. Pick up a little bit of that phthalo in there, and we're going to have a big tree that goes right off the canvas. We'll have another little one right next to it. We don't want to take out our sun. If you accidentally do, don't worry, you can definitely add another one in there. You can sneak one in, no problem. And a bit of water on my brush, twist and roll, get it to a nice point. Get some hangy looking branches in here. And one that comes right down here in the foreground. Let's make this a little bit darker. We can do this without using black. Okay, so I've got my shape here for my Eiffel Tower and my trees. I can come in here and add a little bit more contrast. Just on some parts here. And start coming in with my filbert brush now for the snow-covered branches. So I'm going to take my dark color first, and I'm just going to start tapping like this. I'll take a bit more blue this time. So see how you can turn the brush and have them coming right down. So it looks like they're cascading, or they're just weighed down by all of the snow. All right. Some cobalt and some white. And we'll just start layering that on there. Down here it might show up a little bit better to add more white because the background's a little bit darker. And we'll start on this side. Let's take both blues. We'll just start tapping in. Big leaning tree. I love using the filbert brush for trees. Just I went over part of the sun. Okay, I'm going to dry this off really quickly and then come in with some more layers. Okay, so what I want to do is make the Eiffel Tower look a little bit like it's got some sun. The sun is hitting it. So what I want to do is take a little bit of my luminous yellow and my neon pink. I got a little bit of that blue in there, but that's okay. It's still a good color. And I'm going to do, now that this is dry, I'm just going to do a filter, a warm sunset filter over this. You can take more if you want. It'll dry a little bit darker. If you don't have it mixed with white, it's just going to dry darker. I come around here, brighten my sun up. Take a little bit of that pink and white. Come in here. Make these trees have a glow. And then start a little bit of sunrise here. a little bit more white there. And I'm going to take a little bit of phthalo, and white. And just start adding some more snow in here that's going to show up a little bit brighter in some areas. So you can still see the darker blue that we originally started with. I've got both blues. Another color that you could incorporate in this painting is turquoise. Little hints of turquoise on your tree would look pretty. Okay, I'm going to take my little wisp brush again here. I want to make some smaller trees. Gotta get a little bit of water when you're using the, because there's not a lot of bristles there, so you're going to need to add some more water. I'm going to bring some more little trees in the foreground here. Well, no, not the foreground actually, mid-ground. And you can even just cut across like this and make little branches. We'll add some more slopes here, just a little bit darker this time. And for the fun of it, let's take some of our cobalt blue with that white. And we'll go and sweep in this direction. And then we can come in and add maybe a little bit more shadows in here on the edge. That helps draw our eyes in. I'm going to take my brush again, take a little bit more of my phthalo blue, but more white than blue, so it's going to stand out here. I'm just going to pick a few areas where I want to have some branches. A few more branches showing with some snow on them. And let me just go ahead and try it out with a little filbert brush. Use a little bit more white. Okay, I like the way that looks. I like the way it's kind of sloped. I'm using more white so that it shows up better. Yeah, I like the way that looks. I'll just add a few little tabs up here. I'm going to take my liner brush again, and with this white that I've got here, it's still wet. I'll pull, flick. I'm going to take a little bit more. Little flicks. like you're painting a star. Then we're going to go around the tree with a little bit of our warm colors here, the pink and that luminous yellow. Make that stand out better. Take a little bit of white, luminous yellow, and pink. We're just going to do a little section here. See, I'm going kind of up on a slope like that. So add some nice light to balance out the shadows. If you happen to pick up any of the blue, just wash your brush off, dry it off, and start again. Go along the side here. Get back to that brown color I made before, that rusty burnt sienna. Pink and orange again, and let's just enhance the color a little bit more in here. Just going to get as close as I can to the branches and just dab in some of this color. I'm going to add more pink to my color over here, the dark brownish color, and I'm going to come in, add a bit more warmth in here. Wash my brush off, back to my luminous yellow, add more right in here. Scumble out and blend this out. Take a bit of white, luminous yellow. Go partially over that light pink. And then a little bit more the pink and the yellow. I'm going to go very close in here and just do some little dabs. And there's one little line that I'm just going to take a bit of my phthalo blue. There's one little line that I think I went over. It's right here. And this is just a skinny little line. It goes across like that. A bit of this phthalo blue in here. Just about done this one. I just want to enhance a bit more blue down in here now that that white has had a chance to dry. And come back in and add some little shadows. Okay, so here we have more of a little impressionistic Eiffel Tower in winter. Find the little branches in here. A little bit more yellow around the sun, and then brighten this up again with some fresh white. Some delicate little pokes here. And then I just need to add, and this is optional, but I feel like I just need a little bit more shadow here just to make this contrast a bit better. Got a few little trees back here. Just make those stand out a bit more. Subtle highlights for the snow. Just little blobs like that, that's all you need. Just got a little bit of water on there. Okay, so I'm going to call this one all done. I want to thank you guys so much for joining me today. And have a wonderful day. Happy painting, guys. Bye.